Just because you have feelings doesn't mean that you always understand them all the time or that you're willing to accept them. So welcome and welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Just because you go through things doesn't mean that you're able to internalize them in the moment or even later in life, especially if you're not taught to identify your triggers and your challenge, to overcome them, to find solutions, or to accept them for what they are. There are going to be times in your life where you're not able to change certain situations because they've already happened, but you do have control and you're able to change how you react or respond. In order for you to get to this level of awareness, you have to learn how to validate your feelings. So in order for you to process your feelings, in order for you to validate your feelings, you have to accept what it was. Trying to deny anger, frustration, pain, suffering, or trying to ignore it is not going to make your situation better. I know a lot of people don't like the A word, accountability, but it's not an attack. Now, of course, you learn to be accountable when you want to grow, when you're meant to change, and when you want to do better. You don't have to sit here and blame and shame yourself or feel embarrassed about what you felt or what you've been through, because a lot of the times, if you're not taught or exposed or you're not educated, you're naive, and that's okay. Or you have that 1% where you are aware, you are educated, and you choose to ignore it, which then leads into consequences and suffering. So you have to realize that it's okay to go through things. And a lot of times, until you communicate, until you're vulnerable, until you express how you feel, you're going to continue to suppress what's going on. You're going to be in denial. You will allow certain people, places, and things that are not for you to be fed into you. And you will feel confused. You will start to doubt yourself. You will feel conflicted. And most importantly, you won't be able to trust yourself or the process. You have to realize that in order for you to process your emotions, you have to grieve. And grieving takes stages, boys and girls. It could take months, it could take days, it could take years. And honestly, speaking from experience, it is going to take your entire life. Why? Because you're not the same person who you were at 2. You're not the same person at 5, 7, 10, 50, or even 100 if you are evolving. Now, of course, internally in spirit, yes, whatever your purpose is, whatever your passion is, whatever your purpose is for you to walk on your path. But as you're going through your path, you're going to go through a lot of emotions. And the reason why a lot of grown adults are considered to have diagnoses such as ADHD, ABC, OCD, PTSD, 1, 2, 3, anxiety, neurodivergent, all those things is because there's no understanding. You have to be able to remove the labels and attachments. Me personally, as your favorite mental health specialist, I don't condone or agree with prescribing medicine because medicine is temporary. It does not fix your issues unless it is natural medicine. And even when you have natural medicines, if you're not able, like I said, to go to the root and go to the source of your issue, you can have a reoccurrence. So for example, when you get sick, they tell you to take Tylenol, they tell you to take cough drops. You can eventually experience that again if you're not taking care of your body. And it's the same thing when it comes to your mental health. Now, this doesn't mean that you stop going to your pharmacist, that you stop going to the doctors. If these videos are for you, they're for you. If not, do what resonates. But you have to realize you trying to take supplements, you trying to ignore and avoid how you feel is not changing your situation. And if anything, when you take something, you become addicted to it. Anything you do repetitively is the same thing as consistency, is an addiction. But that's a different topic for a different video. So you have to realize that until you're able to talk about being angry, until you're able to talk about your frustrations, until you talk about the SAs, until you talk about the poverty, until you talk about all these low vibrational things that you're trying to hide in your closet full of skeletons, it's going to continue to show up in your mind. It's not even showing up in the people and the places. It's your mindset. Once you change your mindset, the people and the places, they're not in your control. They're not in your control, excuse me. You have to learn how to process how you feel, and you can't be afraid. Even though you may not have been taught how to communicate, even though you feel like maybe being vulnerable is a weakness, if you want to do better, you have to be able to confess, you have to be able to acknowledge, and you have to be able to identify what's wrong with you. So how are we going to go about doing this? The first thing you need to do is be able to isolate yourself. You have to learn how to sit with yourself. You have to learn how to be alone. If you're not able to be alone, the second thing I recommend is surrounding yourself with adults, a professional help, a therapist, a life coach, your guidance counselor, your mom, dad, people that you love and confide in, who are going to keep your business confidential, and people who are able to understand you without judgment. This is a judge-free platform, meaning what you go through, it's not my business to repeat. It's not anybody else's, honestly, business to repeat, because everybody goes through things. Like, if you don't already know, people who talk down or make other people feel bad about going through trials and tribulations, you're a hypocrite. You just go through stuff behind closed doors because you know if it was to be public, you wouldn't have that same energy. Let's not shame anybody as grown adults. Now, if you're under the age of 25, I give you a little bit more grace because your frontal lobe hasn't developed and you still have some learning to do. Even at 25, that doesn't mean we can't learn from the young people. It's just people know what they're going through based off of their experiences. So don't compare. And like I said, your age does not define who you are, but it's a placeholder. So it's like you have to be able to sit with yourself and talk to people. You have to learn how to start from somewhere. If you're not able to sit with yourself, if you're not able to talk to somebody, you need to get a journal. So physically, I want you guys to invest into a journal or a notepad or your iPad or even your computer, your MacBook. You can get these notebooks from the Dollar Tree, Staples, Michael's, Walmart, Target, whoever else sells writing utensils. I can't think of any. Let me know in the comment section down below, and document how you feel. The purpose of you documenting how you feel is so it doesn't stay in your mind. The only reason why people are suffering is because their mental health is not balanced. Once you identify your mental health, your emotions will not be so fluctuated. They won't be so all over the place. Once you are able to, identify your emotions mentally, you don't have to stay stuck and stagnant. You don't have to over focus. You don't have to hyperventilate. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to have depression. You'll be able to remove all the blockages and the limitations that were projected onto you. And that's another thing you have to be able to identify. So if you're not sitting with yourself, if you're not finding help, if you're not coping and finding ways to come up with solutions, you have to be able to ask yourself. You have to ask questions for yourself, God, ancestors, and universe, if you believe in that, and just identify, where do these insecurities and these projections come from? Because a lot of times in life, if you're not grown up in an environment where it's loving, where it's positive, where it's uplifting, you're not taught how to communicate, you're not taught how to be confident, you will see what you are exposed to based off of your family, your friends, your environments, your community. Everyone's not born with a silver spoon. Everyone's also not born in poverty. You know your situation. You have to realize, do you want to continue to be like your family members and your friends, and they don't talk about how they feel, they dismiss you, they don't support you, they tell you that you're weak if you cry? Or are you willing to separate yourself and consider being the odd one out? Or, you know what, as I was saying that, you guys, this is a live video, that's a different topic within itself. You have to be able to stand out if you want to heal yourself. But let me write that down. You have to be able to stand out. That's going to be the next topic. You have to be able to stand out. You have to be able to stand out. You have to be able to stand out in order for you to genuinely heal yourself. Sorry, I got sidetracked, but I needed to write that down because that's the next topic. And it relates to this video. But back to this video. You have to be able to stand out, okay? And most importantly, not be okay with judgment or not fitting in with people who aren't improving themselves. This doesn't mean that you're better than your family. This doesn't mean that you're better than your friends. But how are you supposed to grow in life when you're surrounded and stuck in places where you're no longer meant to be anymore, because you don't know how to talk about the time you were touched on by your family member? You don't know how to talk about the time that you were beaten up, the time that you went hungry, the time you lost your job, the time that you got jumped, the time that you got into a car accident, the time you were pregnant, the time that you, whatever it was that was negative. Because when it comes to your positive emotions, when it comes to you getting good grades, when it comes to you having Christmas and birthdays and celebrations and rewards and trophies, you know how to understand that. It's not an issue when it comes to that. So it's just like, if you can understand your positive emotions, you have to learn how to understand your negative emotions. Like, it's normal, it's common. But what's not common, what's not normal, is taking that energy out on yourself by harming yourself and others, going out your way to be envious of people, and disturbing the world. Now, of course, I'm not saying that everybody in the world has to kumbaya, but it's not impossible. It's happened before. Now, does everyone know that? Once again, we only know what we know. So it's like, you have to be able to sit with yourself. You have to ask yourself, are these projections from me, or did somebody make fun of me when I was in kindergarten? Did somebody make fun of me when I was in elementary school about my hair? Did somebody tell me that I was ugly in middle school? Did somebody call me fat? Did somebody call me skinny? Did my family members abuse me mentally or physically? You have to care about yourself more than you care about the trauma and the attention. If you don't care about yourself more than you care about trauma and attention, you're going to suffer. You're going to think there's something wrong with you. You're going to think, oh, I'm autistic and I have ADHD, OCD. No, those are labels and attachments. Now, unless it's a physical circumstance, a physical disability, depending on what it is, it could be fixed. Unless you're born paralyzed, unless you're born without hearing and seeing, once again, physical, because that's a different type of frequency, that's a different energy. And even with that still, there are solutions now in this current age where you can come up with strategies to fix it. Everything, of course, is not going to be able to be fixed. Once again, you have to base it off of your circumstances and your situation. But when it comes to your mental health, pills is temporary. You can heal your mental health, but in order for you to heal your mental health, you have to talk about the things that you don't want to talk about. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable temporary, because that's all it is. I'm speaking from experience. The longer I would sit in situations, me personally, I don't like to dwell, because when I do, it's very dark. But the times that I did, which wasn't a lot, okay, the times that I did, I immediately had to snap myself out of it and just ask myself, is this my energy or is this the other people's energy around me? Because I am who I am and I've been installed that since a child, like I said, I've never allowed it to marinate or to affect me, because it will show up. Now, just because I reacted and responded in certain ways doesn't make me better or less than. It just made me realize what I wanted to do and what was for me. Like, a lot of people would project onto me. A lot of people would constantly, and they're going to. So this is why you have to have a sense of self. A lot of people are always projecting. I don't care about what people think of me. I never will, right? But because people are constantly projecting, I had to remove myself and separate myself and allow people to say what they needed to say about me, because it's not changing anything. I don't have to listen to people who I don't want to be like, who are not helping me. And you have to realize that when it comes to your mental health, if people are not helping you, don't listen to them. People want to call you crazy because you have emotions, because you have feelings, because you're crying and you don't know why you're crying. It's because there's something deeper. It's something that happened to you. And until, like I said, you address it and not be afraid and stop surrounding yourself with those people, you're going to think, oh, there's something wrong with me. It's nothing wrong. What happened to you, honestly, is done and over with. That's the reason why people have PTSD. And as your favorite mental health specialist, not only do I study psychology, it's deeper than the physical surface, especially if you say that you're into spirituality or religion. But that's a different topic for a different day. And when it's time for that to be revealed, it will. But it's just like, you cannot be confused about who you are. You have to know that it's okay. Like, if somebody beat you up, why would you not be sad? If you were homeless, why would you not feel abandoned? If you were beaten on, why would you not feel in pain? If you lost your job, why would you not emotionally feel distraught? If you were touched on, why do you not think that's not like, that's not? And until people not acknowledge, or until people learn how to speak up, people are going to continue to do those things. You have to use your voice. And that's why a lot of people who think they're superior and who think they're in control try to manipulate people. I don't have to manipulate anybody for money, for their body, their spirit, or their mind. Why? Because it's enough land, it's enough space, it's enough any and everything. But until you acknowledge and you learn how to process what has happened to you and you learn to own up to it, why? You wouldn't be embarrassed. You don't have no reason to be embarrassed. So what? You used to pee the bed. So what? You got jumped. So what? You used to be homeless. So what? You had to sleep on the floor. So what? You had to sleep on the couch. So what? You have gotten pregnant. So what? You don't have supporting family. So what? You come from a broken home. So what? You used to be addicted to substance. Who cares? Who cares? Grown adults, you know how many grown adults go through things every single day. Who's going to judge you? Nobody on this earth has any right, even myself, have the right to sit here and judge people. And as an adult, that's never been my thing. That's never been a thing for me. And people try to act holier than how. It has nothing to do with that. Anybody at any time, can change their life and want to do better. But you have to learn how to process your feelings, and it takes time. So until you sit with yourself, until you journal, until you find somebody that you can trust and confide into, you're going to be confused. And the more you try to sweep things underneath the rug is going to get dirty. And then eventually you're going to have to throw it in the trash, which means everything is going to hit you at once. And that's what people call karma. Whatever you put out comes back to you. Like I said, your vision is going to be blurry until you realize these insecurities stem from me not being confident at the age of 5, because when I was in a talent show, I came in last place, or people told me I wasn't good enough. And it's like, when you don't, let's just say you don't Write down your feelings. Let's just say you don't have nobody to talk to. Let's just say you don't have a journal. You need to question yourself, because you can learn to sit with yourself. You can take some time to sit with you. You make time to go to the mall. You make time to scroll on YouTube. You make time to scroll on TikTok. You make time to go eat. You make time to do all these things. The next time you're off, you could take 5-10 minutes and have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, do you genuinely believe what it is that people say about you? Because that's the thing. If you believe what somebody says about you, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what I try to say. It doesn't matter what your therapist tries to say. And I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. We're not. Because it's like, your therapist, you're paying them. It's not to say that everyone who is, experiencing some type of finances or wealth doesn't have genuine intentions, but you're the only person who knows how you genuinely feel. And even as your therapist, they're going to reassure you, but it's still up to you. Me, as your favorite mental health specialist, I could reassure you all day. You have to make the decision for yourself. And most importantly, you have to be able to just start. So if you're willing to start and you're ready to start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, turn on your post notification bell. Follow me on all social media platforms. They'll be down in the description box below. And if you want a one-on-one session, head to my website at tigerguidance.com. I'm very passionate about what I say and do. So on YouTube and on TikTok and on my social media, I speak in a certain tone. So therefore, the delivery is sent, sealed, and delivered. But when it comes to one-on-one, when it comes to person, of course, the energy has to be brought down, because it's like you need to feel safe. You need to feel comfortable. Don't just come on YouTube or TikTok or speak to people that you don't trust. Take your time, but just acknowledge who you are. Like, you don't have to be afraid or ashamed about choices that you made when you did not know any better. Or you weren't shown, like I said, how to be confident. You weren't shown how to talk about how you feel. You weren't shown how to handle your emotions. A lot of people don't know how to handle their emotions. And a lot of people like to judge people and say, oh, that's a bad kid. You don't know what that kid is going through at home. You don't know what that girl is going through at home. You don't know what that boy is going through at home. Even as adults, y'all are judging people when it's just like, you're not any better. Like, a lot of people don't think. That's the truth. A lot of people don't think. So because people don't think, when they say stuff out loud, it doesn't register. They don't even process what they say. You're judging somebody, but aren't you as equal as them now when you say that out loud? So it's like, learn to watch what you say before you speak. Just a recommendation. And learn to process how you feel. Like, I'm telling you from experience, that's the reason why you have the PTSD. That's why you have anxiety. That's why you're depressed. Once you come up with the source, once you get to the root, once you figure out where these things are stemming from, we can come up with solutions. That's the whole purpose of my website, to come up with solutions. That's the whole purpose of these videos and these TikToks, is to come up with a solution. If you don't want a solution, if you don't want to change, these videos are not for you, but send it and share it to somebody else. And when you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I'll be going live until we reach our goal here on YouTube, okay, to answer common questions and concerns, as well as the community section. I just posted a poll. Let me know what you're interested in talking about. Like I said, let me know as well here in the comment section. Don't be afraid if you watch the video all the way to the end. Thank you for those who are commenting and engaging. I appreciate you. This is a teamwork makes a dream work effort. And when you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, other than going live, I'll be posting polls on my story as well. But you have to learn how to process your feelings, because it's a lot. Okay? Love you. Bye.